last lecture, we have discussed the concept of metric space, the definition and some of the examples of the metric space. Today, we will do few more problems on the metric space and also an important inequality which is known as the Minkowski inequality as well as the Holder's inequality will be derived. Now, these inequalities are used basically to establish the fourth property of the fourth condition of the metric space, that is triangular inequalities. And as we have seen in case of R 2 or maybe R n, we have left that part to verify whether the triangle inequality is satisfied or not. Now, those things can be easily proved or verified with the help of Minkowski inequality. So, today our concentration will be basically on the Holder's and Minkowski inequality. Now, before going to the Holder's and Minkowski inequality, we will give one example which is also interesting and important, the set of all bounded functions which is defined over a set A, because we have taken the L infinity which is the set of bounded sequences. Now, bounded functions we denoted by B of A is the set of all functions defined and bounded on a given set A, and the metric we define is defined as d of x by at the supremum of mod x t minus by t, t belonging to A, okay, where x and y are the elements in B A and supremum is taken over all t's belonging to A. Now, this set V A together with this metric concept D forms a metric space. So, this is a metric space which can be verified easily, because D which is defined on this is a well defined thing, because function is defined and bounded over the over the set A. So, this supremum value will be attained and we get D to be a finite real non-negative thing. Then D of x by, if it is 0, then supremum of this thing will be 0. It means for all t, x t must be equal to y t, and vice versa. If x t equal to y t for all t, that is x equal to y, then in that case the supremum will be 0 and d of x y will be 0. Third, d of x by is d of by x is obviously true, and the fourth one can easily be seen if I break up this part, mod of x t minus by t, this is less than equal to mod of x t minus z t plus mod of z t minus by t, where z is any other x by z. These are the points in B A, set of all functions, these are the functions defined and bounded over A. Now, take the supremum over t on the right hand side. So, it is less than equal to supremum over t belonging to A of this difference plus supremum of z t minus by t over t belonging to A. So, this part is less than equal to the supremum of this for every t belonging to A. So, left hand side is independent of left hand side depends on t, but the right hand side is independent of t, because once you take the supremum, this is a finite thing. So, take the supremum on the left hand side over T, we get this part is less than equal to supremum of x t minus by t, t belongs to A, plus supremum of this thing mod z t minus by this is z t, this is also z t, sorry. So, x t minus z t plus supremum z t minus, so this is this one, okay, correction is there, this one. Now, this is basically the distance between x and y, and this is the distance between x and z, this is the distance between z and y. So, triangular inequality is satisfied for this function d. Therefore, B A will be a metric space. Okay. So, this will be the class of all functions which are bounded. Now, as a particular case, if A is replaced by the closed interval A B, then this space we denote B of A B, and we say it is a set of all bounded functions defined and over the closed interval A B. So, we will denote this is V A B, the set of all bounded functions x, where the x is defined and bounded over the interval A B, and the metric is defined in terms of the SOP of this. Okay. So, this is another example of a metric space. Now, this we have discussed the example of a sequence space, we have discussed the example of the function space. We will now go to another example of a sequence space, which requires the concepts of the Minkowski, which require the use of Minkowski and Aldous inequality, and that space is LP space, which is also a metric space under a suitable metric D, where P is greater than equal to 1. P is greater than equal to 1. What is this LP space? LP space is the set of those infinite sequences xi1, xi2, xin and so on, such that sigma of mod xi I power p I is 1 to infinity is finite, where these xi1, xi2, xin these are scalar quantity. So, where xi's are scalars. If xi's are real, if xi's are real, then the LP space is said to be real space, real LP space, and if xi's are complex numbers, then we say call LP as complex LP space. Okay. So, LP is the class of those sequences x, infinite sequence xi1, xi2, xin, such that sigma of xi power p is finite, that is those infinite sequence which are pth summable sequence. Okay. So, we get this. The metric on LP is defined as d of x by as sigma j equal to 1 to infinity mod of xij minus eta j power p power 1 by p, okay, where p is greater than equal to 1 is a fixed number. Now, the question is, whether this definition of the metric is well defined, whether this is well defined on LP or not, whether this series converges or not. Second one is, if it is well defined, whether this satisfy all the condition of the metric axiom or not. So, if we look this metric, the first three condition follows immediately. D is greater than equal to 0, obviously because the mod is there, it is a real valued. Finiteness will be tested, finite unless it is convergent, we cannot say this thing is finite. Okay. The finite and real finite part will be taken care by the Minkowski inequality. Then d of x y is equal to d of y x. If I interchange the position, this will no change. D x y is equal to 0, then obviously individual term will be 0 and x I j will be equal to eta j. So, x be equal to y, and this vice versa is also true. The fourth property, that is triangle inequality, again requires the use of Minkowski inequality. So, basically before going to test whether this is a metric or not, we first do derive the result for these two inequalities, which are known as the Holder's inequality and Minkowski inequality. Now, here x and y, these are the points in LP space, x I j and eta j, these are the point in LP space. Okay. So, before going this, let us see the proof. So, first we will derive an inequality. What is the result is, let alpha and beta be any positive near number real numbers and p and q, and let p is greater than 1, define q such that 1 by p plus 1 by q is 1, then p and q are called conjugate exponents, and obviously when this condition is satisfied, so we get p minus 1 into q minus 1 is 1, which can easily be seen p q. So, q plus p is p q, and immediately we can get this result. Okay. Clear? Now, based on it, now the inequality is result alpha and beta be any two positive number, then alpha into beta is less than equal to alpha to the power p by p plus beta to the power q by q, where alpha, beta are positive real numbers and p is greater than 1, q is such that 1 by p, 1 by q is 1. Okay. Now, obviously, for alpha is 0 and beta is 0, this inequality holds, which is true obviously. So, let alpha is not equal to 0, beta is not equal to 0. Okay. So, for general we wanted to, so suppose we have a function, say this is t, this is say u. So, consider a function u as t to the power p minus 1. So, if we have this function, means this is a continuous curve, maybe like this, u is equal to t to the power p minus 1. Alpha and beta, this is alpha and here is say beta. So, alpha beta are the two positive real number. Complete the rectangle, then this alpha beta denotes the area of this portion like this. Okay, area of this portion, that is the area 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2. Okay, these are two areas. Now, this alpha beta area will be, so area of the rectangle whose sides are alpha and beta, means these sides are alpha and beta, O alpha is less than equal to t to the power p minus 1 dt 0 to alpha, 0 to say here alpha plus q to the power u to the power q minus 1 0 to beta. Why? Because this area alpha beta is the area of the rectangle. Rectangle is, if I take this as A, this as B and this as C and this is say D, then this alpha beta is the area of the rectangle OABC. Okay. And this area is less than equal to the area of this portion say B dash, OAB dash, which is the area of this part, because the curve is u equal to t to the power p minus 1, bounded between 0 to alpha. So, the area will be 0 to alpha t to the power p minus 1, and if I look the function through the axis of x in this direction, then this portion of the curve is nothing but t to the power, if I take here, then t is equal to u to the power 1 by p minus 1, which is as good as q minus 1. So, this is the curve if I look along this direction. Okay. So, this curve will be u to the power q minus 1 and bound is 0 to beta, it varies from 0 to beta. So, this area, so 1 area plus 2 area, this one is less than equal to basically this portion is extra. So, this. Okay. Now, it's simple integration, and when you integrate and substitute the value, you get t to the power p by p under the limit 0 to alpha plus u to the power q by q under the limit 0 to beta, and that gives you alpha to the power p by p plus beta to the power q by q. Okay. So, this gives you the result, and which is valid for any positive real number alpha beta, and p is greater than 1 and q is the conjugate exponent of p. The second result, which we also called the Holder's inequality, What is this? Holder's inequality says, let x, which is x I j, belongs to L p, and y, which is eta j, belongs to L q, where p and q, they are the conjugate exponents. Then the product of these two sequences x I eta I will be in L 1, and we have this inequality j equal to 1 to infinity mod of x I j eta j is less than equal to sigma k is 1 to infinity mod of xi k power p power 1 by p plus, sorry, not plus, multiply by sigma m is 1 to infinity mod of eta m power q power 1 by q, where p and q are conjugate, p is greater than 1 and q is such that 1 by p plus 1 by q is 1. Now, this inequality is known as the Holder's inequality, and this is valid for all sequences which are in LPX and another sequence by which are in LQ. So, the product will be in L1. This is a series. If this right hand side convergent means this will be finite. So, it basically the product of these two sequences xi yi coordinate wise, that product will be in L1. Okay. So, that is clear. Now, let us see the proof for this first result, proof of this result. Okay. So, in order to prove this result, we will make use of this inequality first, that the inequality which we have derived alpha beta is less than equal alpha p by p plus beta q by q for any alpha beta or positive real number. Okay. So, we will make use of this inequality here. So, let us start. Let xi j bar and eta j bar be the two sequences such that the sigma of this mod xi j bar power p j is 1 to infinity is 1 and mod sigma of mod eta j bar power q j is 1 to infinity is say 1. Let us take these two sequences and which can be easily found. Suppose I take xi j to be 1 by 2 to the power 1 by p, p say n, p n or p j, then it will be 1. Okay. Sigma 1 upon 2 to the power j by p. So, j will get p gets cancelled and we get sigma j 1 upon 2 j will be 1. Okay. So, such type of sequences are available and we get cancelled. Now, let us take alpha to be mod of xi j bar and beta to be mod of eta j bar. Okay. Now, alpha and beta we are choosing. So, both are real positive number, hence we can use this inequality that is alpha beta is less than equal to alpha to the power p by p plus beta to the power q by q. So, substitute alpha beta here. So, we get mod of xi j bar eta j bar is less than equal to mod of xi j power p by p plus mod of eta j bar power q. Okay. Now, take the summation, So, sigma of j is 1 to infinity mod of xi j bar eta j bar is less than equal to. Now, when you take the summation, then sigma of mod xi j bar is 1, sigma of this is 1. So, it will be the same as 1 plus 1 by p plus 1 by q, that is 1. So, what we get it that sigma j equal to 1 to infinity x I j bar eta j bar is 1. Let it be say 1. It means, if I choose x I j bar and eta bar for which this is true, then it will satisfy the condition 1. Okay. Now, taking the advantage of this inequality, we now in a position to drive the Holder's inequality. So, what we do is, suppose x which is x I j is in L P and y which is eta j is in L Q be the non-zero elements in these spaces, and let us set and put x I j bar as x I j over sigma mod x I k power p power 1 by p, where k is 1 to infinity, and eta j bar to be eta j y sigma eta m mod of this power q, m is 1 to infinity power 1 by q. So, if I choose the x I j bar and eta j bar in such a way, then obviously this sequence x I j bar and eta j satisfy the condition that sigma of this thing is 1, because as soon as sigma mod and then sigma you will get power p, then it will comes out to be 1. It means it satisfies the condition of earlier condition. Hence, the sequences which satisfy this condition must satisfy 1 also. So, we can say this type of sequence x I j bar eta j bar must satisfy 1. So, clearly the sequences x I j bar and eta j bar will satisfy 1, will satisfy instead of 1, let it be say here is A. So, will satisfy A, hence use 1 I, because they satisfy I. So, we get from here, when you substitute these values in I, what we get it, I is this, sigma of this is 1. So, write down this mod of this and sigma. So, sigma of this mod x I j eta j equal to 1 to infinity is less than equal to, is it not, 1, sigma k equal to 1 to infinity mod x I k power p power 1 by p into, is it not, this into this. So, into sigma m is 1 to infinity mod of eta m power q power 1 by q, and that gives you the Holder's inequality. Now, one thing we observe here, that when we say the Holder's inequality, then left hand side we are taking the summation from j equal to 1, while the right hand side the summations are taken from k and from m, k equal to 1 to m. So, k with respect to k equal to 1 to m and with respect to m 1 to m. In fact, because the series x I sigma of x I k mod x I k power p is convergent, because the sequence x is in L P, this is the sequence x in L P. So, this part will be finite, that is the sequence x I k will be p a absolutely pth summable sequence. So, this will be the absolute sum will be finite. Similarly, eta I, that sequence eta m or eta I, will be in LQ, is in LQ. So, this will be finite. Therefore, when we interchange the terms, it will not affect the summation, because in case of the absolute series which converges absolutely, summation remains the same whether we interchange the positions of the terms. So, we get this. Therefore, it hardly matters whether we take j equal to 1 to infinity or j equal to 1 to infinity here, or maybe k is 1 to infinity or m is 1 to infinity, clear. So, this means someone may write also j equal to 1 to infinity mod xij eta j is less than equal to j equal to 1 to infinity of xij power p power 1 by p into sigma j equal to 1 to infinity mod eta j power q 1 by q. Okay. So, that is one, clear. Now, next result, which third is the Minkowski inequality. Minkowski inequality W. Okay. Minkowski inequality. So, the Minkowski say let x, which is xij, a sequence in LP, and y, which is eta j in an LP, and p is greater than equal to 1. Then the Minkowski inequality says that sigma of mod xij plus eta j power p power 1 by p, where summation is taken over j from 1 to infinity, is less than equal to sigma k equal to 1 to infinity mod of xik power p power 1 by p plus sigma m is 1 to infinity mod of eta m power p power 1 by p. Okay. So, basically this inequality says that we can write down the sum of the two sequence in terms of this inequality. Xij is one sequence, by then sum of the two sequence have this relation, which is valid for all p greater than 1 equal to 1 this, and x and y are in LP. Now, this is a well defined thing. First, because when x is in LP, this sum will be finite. When y is in LP, this sum will be finite. So, the total of this sum will be finite. Therefore, sum of this series will be finite. So, if x is in LP, y is in LP, then the addition of the two sequence x plus y will be in LP. Hence, as a result, we can say that LP is a linear space, means alpha times will also be in LP if alpha is finite. So, it becomes a linear space, and that is also a justification from this one thing. Second part is that here we again take k is 1 to infinity, m is 1, as I told you earlier, that we are free to choose the terms in any fashion, still the sum will remain the same. So, that is why there is no loss of generality even if I take k equal 1 to infinity or j is 1 to infinity like this. Okay. The proof of this, for p is equal to 1, the inequality follows immediately, but just using the triangular inequality. For p equal to 1, we get mod xij eta j is less than equal to xij plus mod eta j because of the triangular inequality, and then take the summation sigma j equal to 1 to infinity mod of xij plus eta j is less than equal to sigma j equal to 1 to infinity or k is 1 to infinity mod of xij plus sigma j equal to 1 to infinity mod of eta j. So, for p equal to 1, the result follows immediately. Then now, so let us take the p greater than 1. So, take p greater than 1, p is greater than 1. Okay. Now, to simplify the formula, let us take x I j plus eta j at omega j. Okay. So, mod of x I j plus eta j power p, this will be equal to same as mod omega j power p. Okay. And this can be written as x I j plus eta j into mod of omega j power p minus 1. Take one of the term outside and get. Now, apply the triangular inequality. So, we get mod x I j mod omega j power p minus 1 plus mod eta j into mod omega j power p minus 1. Clear? Now, this we get it. Okay. So, this is the first sum and second. Now, let it be 1 and 2. Okay. Separate out this. Now, here we will take first for this result here, first prove the result, but prove the result by choosing j from 1 to n. That is the Minkowski inequality, we will just restrict up to j equal to 1 to n, and then for n is sufficiently large, we can take it. So, where n is any fixed n, okay, any fixed n, this is our. Okay. So, we will prove that. So, let us take the first step. The first part is sigma mod x I j mod of w j power p minus 1, j is 1 to n. Okay. Now, apply that Holder's inequality. Holder's inequality j equal to 1 to n. So, as a particular when j is 1 to n, rest will be say after n is 0. So, we can use the Holder's inequality without any problem, but only thing is Holder's inequality requires the product of the two sequence, where one of the sequence is in LP, other sequence should be in LQ. So, whether this part is it in LQ, that is now obviously mod of w j power p minus 1, when we raise the power q, then this becomes mod j power p minus 1 into q. P and q are the raised. So, 1 by p plus 1 by q is 1. Therefore, when we take the p minus 1 into q, then what we get? Just see here, when you take 1 by p here, then p minus 1 by p equal to 1 by q. So, p minus 1 into q becomes p. So, this is basically equal to mod j power p. Now, sigma of this thing, sigma of this part p minus 1 into q, j is 1 to infinity, this is the sigma j equal to 1 to infinity mod w j power p, but w j is x I j plus eta j, which is in LP, because LP is a linear space. So, this will be in LP. So, the sum will be finite. Therefore, this sum is finite. So, this implies that the sequence w j mod w j power p minus 1 is in LQ. Okay. This implies that mod of w j power p minus 1 is in LQ. So, here we take the sequence, one sequence is in LP, other sequence here where x in LP, and this sequence power p minus 1 is in LQ because of this, because of the following lesion. Okay. So, we can without any problem we can apply the Holder's inequality this. Okay. So, use the Holder's inequality, use Holder's inequality. So, we get from here is sigma j is 1 to n mod xij mod wj power p minus 1. If I use the Holder's inequality, then it will be less than or equal to sigma mod xik power p, say k is 1 to n I am taking, power 1 by p into sigma mod wj wm, let us be changed, wm power p minus 1 power q, m is 1 to n and power 1 by q. Okay. And this will be equal to, if I take this is sigma k equal to 1 to n mod xik power p power 1 by p, and we have seen that p minus 1 into q is p. So, this is the sigma mod w omega m power p, m is 1 to n power 1 by q. So, this is the first part. Now, second part, in a similar way, for the second we can use this sigma mod of eta j mod of wj power p minus 1, j is 1 to n. If I apply again the Holder's inequality with the sum j equal to 1 to n, then what we get is this is less than or equal to sigma k equal to 1 to n mod of eta k power p power 1 by p into sigma m is 1 to n mod of w omega m power p power 1 by q, power 1 by q. So, if I add them, then we get this two sum, addition is here. So, what we get is sigma xi j plus eta j. Okay. This is xij plus eta j into power mod wj power p minus 1, j equal to 1 to n is less than equal to sigma k is 1 to n mod of xik power p power 1 by p plus sigma m is 1 to n power omega m power p power 1 by this is xik plus eta k. So, this will be eta k I am putting here. Okay. So, plus sigma k is 1 to n mod of eta k power p power 1 by p, and this entire thing is multiplied by sigma omega m is 1 to n omega m power p power 1 by q, because this is common. Okay. Now, this part if you go through the previous slides, then basically this is the wj power p. Okay. So, we can say this entire thing is greater than equal to sigma wj power p or omega j power p, j is 1 to n. Okay. So, take this towards this side. So, take the summation and we get from here is divide, let n tends to infinity, let n is tending to infinity. So, when you take n tends to infinity, the summation will not differ and we get sigma j is 1 to infinity mod of omega j power p, and here when you divide 1 minus 1 by q is less than equal to sigma over k 1 to infinity mod xi k power p power 1 by p, okay, plus sigma k is 1 to infinity mod of eta k power p power 1 by p. Okay. But 1 minus 1 by p is 1 by q, 1 minus 1 by p is 1 or 1 minus 1 by q is 1 by p. So, we get from here is, so sigma j is 1 to infinity mod of omega j power p power 1 by p is less than equal to sigma k is 1 to infinity mod xi k power p power 1 by p, okay, plus sigma k is 1 to infinity mod of eta k power p power 1 by p, power 1 by p, okay, and this will be nothing but the omega j xi j plus eta k. So, we get the inequality j is 1 to infinity mod of xi j plus eta j power p power 1 by p is less than equal to sigma k is 1 to infinity mod xi k power p power 1 by p plus sigma k is 1 to infinity mod eta k power p power 1 by p, and that is nothing but the Minkowski inequality. Okay. Clear? Now, this inequality also gives the guarantee that this series convergent, because this is convergent, this is convergent and this is convergent, and further it is also used to justify that LP is a metric space under this. So, now to show LP under that metric D is a metric space where D is defined as D of x by h sigma j is 1 to infinity mod xi j minus eta j power p power 1 by p, where p is greater than 1, okay, or equal to 1, and x equal to xi j belongs to LP by which is eta j belongs to LP. Now, how this follows is, so first 3 M1, M2, M3 follows immediately. For M4, to justify M4, what we do is we consider this. So, consider mod of xi j minus eta j. Now, this will be equal to power p, okay. Then this is less than equal to mod xi j minus say zeta j plus zeta j minus eta j, okay. Then power p is greater than 1, okay, p is greater than 1. Now, this will be, okay. Now, take the sigma of this j equal to 1 to infinity, take the sigma j equal to 1 to infinity, okay. Now, take the power where z, which is zeta j, belongs to LP, okay. Now, take the power 1 by p, power p power 1 by p. Now, this is less than equal to sigma j equal to 1 to infinity mod of xi j minus zeta j plus mod of zeta j minus eta j power p power 1 by p. Okay, that's right. Now, apply the Minkowski inequality. This is as good as the two sequence x I plus by I, mod of x I plus by I power p power 1 by p. So, you can use the Minkowski inequality. We get this is less than equal to sigma j is 1 to infinity mod of x I j minus zeta j power p power 1 by p plus sigma j is 1 to infinity mod of zeta j minus eta j power p power 1 by p. Okay. And this will be equal to, this is the left hand side is the metric d of x y, this is less than equal to metric d of x z plus metric d of z y. That is, the triangular inequality is followed. Okay. So, this proves the LP space under D is a metric space. Now, as a consequence, we can also say as a consequence R 2, R n, these are all metric spaces under the metric defined earlier. Okay, under the metric defined earlier. So, we need not to go in detail, but this will follow. Okay. So, this will be this. Now, we have one more concept here, that is the concept of the subspaces. So, let us say define subspace first. Let x d be a metric space, and y is a non-empty subset of x, and suppose d bar is the restriction of D on by cross by. What is the meaning of restriction? This is our metric space x d, d is a distance function and by is a non-empty subset of this. So, here the elements of y is say by 1 by 2 like this. Now, when we choose the points in y, and if the distance between by 1 and by 2 under the metric d bar is the same as the distance under d, then we say d bar is the restriction of d, that is d bar by 1 by 2 is the same as d of by 1 by 2 for y 1 by 2 belongs to capital Y. Then this is the restriction of this. Okay. Clear? So, we have this for example, if we take this sequence, suppose A is the subset of L infinity, we have seen L infinity is the set of all bounded sequences, and then if we take this example, let us say if A is the subspace of L infinity consisting of all sequences of zeros and ones, okay, then the induced metric on A is nothing but the discrete metric, because what is the discrete metric? Discrete metric, if we take the discrete metric say d, dd, x y is 0 if x is equal to y and 1 when x is not equal to y. It is as good as the supreme of mod x mod of x I minus by I, or sorry eta I, where x is xi I and y is eta I, y is eta I. Okay. So, because these two are zeros equal, then it will 0, other by 1. So, discrete metric becomes the induced metric for this. Thank you. That is all.